There are encounters in life that can suddenly make a person change for the better. However, there are also relationships that, over time, can lead a person further into darkness, sinking deeper into the mire, and becoming increasingly worse. Choosing the relationships around you is also choosing the path that your life will take. Marcus Aurelius once mused, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." With this wisdom in mind, let us explore the 15 types of people that the Stoics, like Aurelius, cautioned us to steer clear of. These are the personalities that may not only hinder our journey, but can also root us in negativity. Number 1. The selfish. Once upon a time there was a merchant who had a horse and a donkey. One day he had to deliver a large quantity of goods to another city. So he loaded the donkey with the goods and mounted the horse to set off on the journey. It was a scorching hot day. Because it was carrying too much, the donkey quickly became exhausted. The donkey asked the horse if it could carry some of its load, but the horse replied that it was not its job. Before long, the donkey could not bear it any longer and collapsed in the middle of the road. The man still wanted to continue the journey to avoid any delays. Therefore, he transferred all the goods from the donkey's back to the horse's back, and then they continued on their way. At that moment, burdened with the heavy load, the horse thought to itself, "If only I had helped the donkey earlier." But it was too late. The story reflects a very common trait in human nature, which is selfishness. In our examination of human behaviors, we encounter the archetype of the self-serving individual. Such a person places their desires at the forefront, often at the expense of others' considerations. They navigate life's decisions with a singular question: how will this benefit me? This mindset propels them to act solely in their favor, disregarding the repercussions their actions may have on those around them. This self-centered approach leads to a pattern of exploiting others, neglecting their needs, and reneging on commitments unless they offer immediate personal gain. They operate with a blinding focus on self-advancement, oblivious to the harm they cause in their wake. Consequently, they cultivate a reputation marred by unreliability and faithlessness. While they may accrue short-term benefits, the long-term cost is steep: eroded relationships and lost respect. Their path, marked by cynicism and manipulation, often ends in discord and solitude. Stoicism warns us of the emptiness found in such selfish pursuits. We are inherently communal beings, designed to coexist in concord rather than strife. There is a deeper fulfillment in lifting others alongside ourselves. Echoing the wisdom of the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, we find serenity not in self-aggrandizement, but in righteous action and a commitment to the welfare of our peers. What brings a person tranquility is to do what's right and to be focused on the well-being of his fellow man. Number 2. The flatterers. Beware the flatterer, a figure of caution in Stoic teachings. They come bearing gifts of praise, not from a place of honesty, but seeking to extract something from us. Their compliments are a currency for personal gain, not a genuine appraisal. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you wish to be loved, love." True admiration does not seek reward, it is given freely. Recognize the flatterer's true intent hidden beneath their excessive adulation. Their words are a smokescreen for ulterior motives, whether it's a favor they desire or influence they wish to wield. We must see past the facade of flattery and understand that such insincerity benefits no one. It's in our power to discern truth from deception, to value sincere interactions over hollow praise. Number 3. The greedy. The Stoics also caution us against the greedy, those blinded by the relentless pursuit of wealth. Their desire is a bottomless pit, their actions driven by an unquenchable thirst for more. As Seneca aptly put it, wealth is like seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. The greedy's life is a chase for what can never satisfy, a cycle of wanting that tarnishes character and clouds judgment. They view life as a competition where gain is only achieved at another's loss. Yet, in their scramble for material wealth, they lose sight of true riches, virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. The Stoic path teaches us to seek contentment in what we have and to cherish values that bring lasting fulfillment, not fleeting material success. The greedy may accumulate, but they do so at the cost of their serenity and moral compass. We must not envy them but pity their inability to find contentment in the wealth of the spirit. Number 4. The envious. Seneca once remarked, "Envy is the ulcer of the soul." This a group peoples the Stoics warn us to steer clear of. These individuals harbor resentment towards others' achievements and blessings. They view life as a competition where one person's gain is another's loss, fostering bitterness and a sense of injustice within themselves. This scarcity mindset blinds them to the abundance of opportunities life offers. The envious often engage in petty actions, attempting to tarnish the reputation of those they perceive as rivals. They might trivialize others' accomplishments, attribute success to mere luck, or indulge in spreading harmful gossip. Their spitefulness is evident when they take pleasure in the setbacks of those they envy, rather than finding motivation in their achievements. Stoicism teaches us that envy is an involuntary response born from ignorance, yet we have the power to choose not to act on it. The philosophy encourages us to adopt a perspective of benevolence, to rejoice in the good fortune of others, and to use their successes as a catalyst for our own personal growth, avoiding the destructive path of envy. Number 5. The chronic complainer. Avoid the trap of the chronic complainer, a figure the Stoics see as a beacon of negativity. This individual often criticizing and lamenting their lot in life. They find fault incessantly, whether it be the state of the weather, the workings of the government, their professional life, or their personal relationships. What are mere trifles to others become insurmountable obstacles to them as they adopt the mantra, "Nothing is satisfactory." They choose lamenting over action, seeking sympathy rather than solutions, which only deepens their dissatisfaction. The complainer solidifies their own dissatisfaction through constant expression of discontent, cultivating a poisonous mindset. Echoing Epictetus, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." The Stoic philosophy implores us to not mirror the complainer. Facing adversities is a given, yet exacerbating our situation through relentless lamentation serves no purpose. Wisdom dictates that we concentrate on what lies within our power, taking positive steps, rather than succumbing to a mire of negativity. Life will present challenges, but our response, armed with wisdom and fortitude or marred by endless complaints, is ours to choose. Number 6. The self-pitying soul. Beware the self-pitying individual who drowns in their sorrows and constantly plays the victim. This person shirks responsibility for their plight, pointing fingers at others, fate, or the cosmos, never looking inward. They dwell in a narrative of "woe is me," fostering a sense of impotence and bitterness. The Stoics warn us to eschew self-pity. They counsel us to maintain a balanced perspective through life's ebbs and flows, not to wallow in our troubles. In the face of hardship, we should direct our efforts towards what we can influence, cultivating resilience instead of adopting the victim's guise. Trials are a certainty, yet our choice lies in confronting them with maturity or theatrics. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, begin each day by telling yourself, "Today, I shall be met with obstruction, ungratefulness, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all due to the offender's ignorance of what is good and evil." Number 7. The arrogant. The arrogant marked by an exaggerated self-regard and a belief in one's superiority, which obscures one's own shortcomings and distorts one's place in the world. The arrogant individual stands convinced of their infallibility, excellence, and entitlement, dismissing others as unworthy of their level. Such a stance fosters a climate of intolerance and disdain, alienating those perceived as lesser. In the eyes of a Stoic, arrogance is a barrier to growth. It repels the wisdom found in feedback and the humility necessary for learning. Stoicism teaches us to embrace humility and to accept our inherent imperfections. True pride is found not in self-aggrandizement but in the pursuit of virtue. Echoing the words of Marcus Aurelius, we are reminded, It is not our place to judge the lives of others. Each person is shaped by their unique character and the inescapable forces of their lives. This sentiment guides us toward a more compassionate and equitable view of our fellow humans, encouraging us to engage with the world with an open heart and mind, fostering connections rooted in equality and mutual respect. Number 8. The apathetic. Consider the apathetic type who traverses life with a marked deficiency in empathy, often oblivious to the emotional landscapes of those around them. They deaf to the sentiments that they might injure. Their heedless advance in pursuit of personal goals often leaves a trail of emotional turmoil. Those who are apathetic create an environment of hurt and a sense of being undervalued. They lack the introspection necessary to navigate social interactions with finesse and sensitivity. Their blunt approach and disregard for the feelings of others corrode the foundations of trust and mutual respect, keeping their relationships superficial and devoid of genuine connection. The Stoic path encourages the cultivation of empathy, kindness, and thoughtful engagement with our fellow beings. Although the reception of our actions by others is beyond our control, our intent should always be to foster harmony and understanding. Neglect breeds conflict and solitude, whereas mindfulness fosters a sense of belonging and community. Echoing the wisdom of Epictetus, it is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them. Number 9. The intransigent. This person is characterized by an unwavering adherence to their own opinions, a refusal to entertain differing viewpoints or embrace compromise. Their rigidity often results in conflict and difficulty in interactions. They insist on their own way, disregarding alternatives or advice. Such individuals prefer to continue in error, rather than concede and correct their course. This steadfastness not only hinders their own development, but also strains their ability to meet others halfway in both personal and professional relationships. Every interaction becomes a battle for dominance, an all-or-nothing proposition, which inevitably leads to isolation. Stoicism warns against the perils of such unyielding firmness. Holding fast to principles is commendable, yet the sagacious know the value of applying them with discernment and compassion. We do a disservice to ourselves when we reject the opportunity to evolve with new situations, or to heed the counsel of others. Our pursuit ought to be anchored in truth and self-betterment, not in the defense of a brittle self-image. As Seneca once said, stubbornness becomes stupidity. Number 10. The cynical. Seneca once remarked, "It is the failing of a sour old man to see no true goodness in anything." This sentiment aptly introduces the cynic, a toxic archetype warned against in Stoicism. Cynics, with their deep-seated skepticism, dismiss any display of sincerity or idealism as naivety. They are the naysayers who corrode the fabric of hope and community, always suspecting ulterior motives behind acts of virtue. Their world is one where honesty and compassion are mere illusions, and their scornful laughter often hides a profound sadness for the goodness they feel. Life has denied them. Stoicism, however, urges us to look beyond this veil of disappointment. Despite the cynic's doubts, we are encouraged to maintain a steadfast belief in humanity's capacity for virtue. Marcus Aurelius counsels us to face the day with awareness of others' flaws yet hold on to the hope for collective moral progress, saying, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Number 11. The manipulative. In the words of Epictetus, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom is a beacon when confronting the manipulator, another toxic type that Stoicism cautions us against. Manipulators are the strategists of human chess, always angling for personal gain through deceit and exploitation. They wear a mask of goodwill, only to discard allies once their usefulness wanes. Such individuals may think they're winning the game, but their short-sighted tactics of coercion and false alliances lead to isolation and distrust. Stoic teachings remind us that genuine respect and sincerity are the cornerstones of lasting relationships, not manipulation. True cooperation and success come from treating others as ends in themselves, not as means to an end. As we navigate life's complexities, we must reject the manipulator's duplicitous path and embrace the Stoic virtue of integrity. Number 12. The angry. Seneca once said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Stoicism identifies the seeds of anger in unfulfilled desires and a pervasive sense of powerlessness. The angry person feels shortchanged by the world, which fosters resentment and a compulsion to assert dominance through rage and retaliation. In the throes of anger, clarity of thought and constructive action elude the angry person. Their reasoning is clouded, their words become cutting, and their actions impulsive. They often interpret the words and actions of others in the most negative light, exacerbating rather than ameliorating conflicts. The Stoic path teaches us to resist emulating the angry. While anger might surface without our consent, we possess the choice to act upon it or not. Wisdom lies in seeking pause and perspective in the face of provocation. Succumbing to anger merely taints our existence. We must strive to respond with reason and self-mastery, not from a place of spite and bitterness. Reflecting on this, Epictetus reminds us, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master," urging us to liberate ourselves through rational composure rather than be enslaved by our tempers. Number 13. The impulsive risk-taker. In the realm of Stoic thought, the impulsive risk-taker is a character fraught with peril. Such individuals leap into danger without heed. They test boundaries thoughtlessly, finding delight in senseless risks. They turn a blind eye to cautionary tales, plunging into risky ventures without protective measures as if they are exempt from life's rules. This propensity for risk sets the stage for future calamity. Their absence of restraint affecting not only themselves but also those entangled in the aftermath of their hasty decisions. Despite the damage inflicted, they seldom grasp the lessons of their missteps. They dismiss their errors, shun responsibility, and persist in their capricious pursuits, neglecting the growth that comes from introspection. Stoicism advocates for a life steered by reason, not impulse. Valor, when guided by wisdom, begets virtue rather than misfortune. The reckless gain nothing lasting. Our obligations to ourselves and our community demand disciplined restraint, acknowledgement of repercussions, and learning from our failings. Echoing Seneca, "Nothing is more dishonorable than rashness." Number 14. The unscrupulous. Within Stoic discourse, the unscrupulous character emerges as a troubling archetype. These individuals operate devoid of ethical grounding and moral compass, resorting to dishonorable means for personal gain. Unfettered by the dichotomy of right and wrong, they are prone to deception, treachery, theft, and the betrayal of trust to fulfill their desires, subscribing to a philosophy where the ends invariably justify the means. Such persons lack a genuine moral core, easily betraying confidences and manipulating others' vulnerabilities for advantage. They view their fellow humans as mere stepping stones or instruments for use. This approach to life invariably leads to their downfall. Their reputation for deceit eventually earns them widespread contempt. The path they carve is strewn with the disillusionment and wreckage of lives they've impacted. Any success they attain is ultimately empty. Stoicism holds that the pursuit of virtue and honorable goals is the true measure of success. While external achievements are transient, moral integrity is everlasting. We must prefer the loss of all externalities over the forfeiture of our inner values. Ultimately, the unscrupulous possess nothing of enduring value. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, a branch cut away from the branch beside it is simultaneously cut away from the whole tree. Number 15. The malevolent. Stoicism alerts us to the malevolent individual, the last in the series of toxic archetypes. These are the ones who find a perverse joy in cruelty, subjugation, and the suffering of others. Their lack of empathy renders them exceptionally harmful. Viewing kindness as a flaw, the malevolent relish in the infliction of anguish, whether through overt intimidation or more insidious psychological means. Their aggression masks a profound sadism and deep-seated insecurities. Such destructive tendencies wreak havoc on personal relationships and the wider community. Their acts of brutality and exploitation sow seeds of fear and mistrust. They leave behind a legacy of trauma and hopelessness. Stoicism teaches us that our destinies are interconnected. To harm another is to harm oneself. We must actively resist the temptation of needless cruelty, which erodes the essence of humanity and the ties that bind us. True strength is found in elevating others with compassion and kindness. When the malevolent ascend to power, they pose a significant danger. Stoicism urges us to reject and restrain those who take pleasure in inflicting pain. In a thriving society, there is no place for malevolence. As Marcus Aurelius put it, to harm others is to harm yourself. While malevolence may appear to prosper through their wickedness, they ultimately forfeit their humanity. As we draw this journey to a close, remember that the wisdom of Stoicism isn't just to be contemplated, but actively applied. Each person we've discussed today offers a mirror, reflecting back the traits we should be wary of cultivating within ourselves. Ask yourself, which of these types have you encountered in your life? How have you responded, and how will you respond in the future, armed with the knowledge of Stoicism? Engage with us in the comments below. Share your experiences, and let's grow together in wisdom and virtue. If today's exploration has sparked a flame of recognition or curiosity within you, please like and share this video to spread the insights far and wide. For those who wish to continue this Stoic voyage, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Until next time, may you walk the path of the Stoics with resilience and joy. Thank you for watching, and may you find not just peace and serenity, but also the strength to live a life of purpose and contentment.